Hey, welcome to the Book of Dad Radio Show. I'm Dr. Robert Benson. As always, before we get started, we want to say thank you to Jehovah. Thank him for his son, Jesus Christ. Thank him for our families. Thank him for work and our ability to do the things we're able to do. Book of Dad Radio Show with Iceberg Slim in the background. What's up, Eddie G?
What's up? What's up, Huggy Bear? Antonio Farr.
Hey, man, I got the stilts on with the fish in them and everything. I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I see you, man. I see you.
Hey, it's that time of the year, man. We want to kick out a shout out to all the great fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to you, my man. And happy Father's Day to my father and all the great fathers out there, those who aren't here. It's that time of the year, and I don't think we do a lot of or enough acknowledgement of the great fathers that we have. So without any further ado, let's kick it in, man. Book of That Radio Show. We got a great topic today, another great guest. I want to talk about a person who I have read their stuff. We know this person. They share the same dirt we have. And I like to use the word or the term galvanizer when I think about this individual. But without any further ado, Ed, I'm going to ask you to introduce our guest today.
Oh, today we have the
You're on the spot, man.
Stupendous friend of mine. Look, I'm sweating because we got a star on here today. Cynthia McKnight, who is a multifaceted person. She's an entrepreneur. She's a filmmaker. She's a coach. She's a speaker, and many, many other things. But I'll let her tell us all about that. How you doing today, Cynthia?
I am wonderful. I am so excited to be on your show today. And I am just here to pretty much just share some of the great things that I am working on, some of the great things that I'm doing. I always like to give like a backstory of a little bit about me, where I'm from and how do I get to where I'm at today. And so I would love to share that with you. So I grew up in Chester, Pennsylvania. And I went to all of the schools in Chester, and I always want to give a shout out to that community because during the time when I was growing up, it was such a great community, and it's going to return that. I'm just believing that even with some of the things that is going on in Chester. And so when I got to high school, I decided to start going into the field of theater. And in high school, when I was a baby, when I was young, I always was acting, always standing up on things, always creating, always drawing. And so when I went to high school, Dallas Fitzsimmons, for those who may not know him, but he was an incredible theater teacher. So I was taught under him and I started doing stage plays and I fell in love with it. And so from there, I decided to start my own production company. So that's how I got to Eyes on You Production, and that's how it was birthed. So that's a little backstory, a little bit about me.
Wow. Hey, now, Mr. Fitzsimmons, wasn't he a choir instructor too?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Absolutely.
Back when I wasn't too cool to be in the chorus, I was under him as well. I remember him quite well. But then I got too cool, started playing football, couldn't do it no more. Okay. Hey, so, hey, let's talk about this movie you got coming out. It's called You Hurt Me, But I'm Healed. What a great title. What a great story that seems to be behind this. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so let me just share this with you. I decided this is my second film. I released a film in December titled The Garden, the story of Adam and Eve from a different perspective. So that is already on Amazon Prime Video. And so I started with that film just to give some history from a different perspective. When you hear the story of Adam and Eve, most time you would talk about what happened in the garden. Well, I wanted to do it from a different perspective of how they felt when they was kicked out of the garden. So that's how I created that film, from that perspective on the other side of it, and how so many of us are hiding behind different things in life. Now, this was not on my radar, and I need to be clear about this. This You Hurt Me, But I'm Healed was not on my radar at the time I was released to do it. I was working on my next film, Cain and Abel, from a different perspective, where I'm going to be dealing with violence in the city of Philadelphia. And I'm going to use that story to teach and show people how jealousy kind of grows in us and what it causes in the lives of our community. So in between that, it was just in my heart that there were so many women that were hurting. And I do counseling on a daily basis. And I said, you know what? I need to just listen to the voice of God right here. And he was saying, I need you to do this. And so I started writing. I started developing You Hurt Me, But I'm Healed. I started the auditions. And I selected 6 incredible women to share their narrative. So the film is basically about them sharing their stories that's inspired by true stories. And I shared my story. And I love sharing my story because I believe that there are stories that need to be told, and everybody has a voice, and your voice needs to be heard. And so that's how it started. And so that's why we're releasing it. I'm excited about it. And this film will be on Amazon Prime as well.
You know, the thing interesting is that it seems to me this is kind of a storytelling story surrounding domestic violence. Is that what we can infer from the title and from what you just told us?
There are a lot of different stories, which is really unique about the cast. You have some who were unable to have a child. They're telling their story. So it's not all about violence. It's not all about abuse. Most of the stories will touch on that, but a lot of it is about a lot of things that happen in the home. So what I did was I created the film in a house setting, because most times, most of our wounds, most of our hurt started in our house. It didn't start from no stranger. It started when we was in our house, what was said to us, what we saw, what we were exposed to, what we believed that we were. And so I created this to do each monologue in a different room in a house. And that's how we created the monologue. So this is more of a monologue-based film, which I love doing, instead of a dialogue-based film that they're feeding off of each other.
Oh. Well, the thing that I find very, very interesting is your explanation between a monologue and a dialogue. And there seems to be this dichotomy that I wasn't aware of. But the thing that I find very interesting is that you were able to tell this story from having this foundation of being an evangelist, if you will. I ask you this because this may not be something that you can have ever been asked before. Do you believe that you would be able to tell these stories had you never become an evangelist of sorts? Or do you think this is something that you were destined to do because of your evangelism?
I think I was destined to do it. I think everything that we were created to do came with us at the time we were born. I don't think there's nothing new. I think you just discover it. So to answer your question, it was always in me. It was just the time frame of it getting out of me. So it's about discovering it. It's not about it not being there. So it was always there.
Well, you seem like you're a creative person. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to add to that. When you were a young person in high school and you were in theater class and choir and those things, did you see that as a vision in the future? Was that a part of what you wanted to be? I know a lot of times when we're younger, everybody wants to be a basketball player or ice skater, you know what I mean? But maybe you might have had those visions when you were young.
It's always been inside of me. One of the things that I did, many times, I always reassess and go back, and I always ask my mom to talk to me about when I was little. It was always there. No matter whether I was in high school or not, it was always in me. It was just, I was born to do it. I was born to create. I was born to help people. I was born to do it. And so to answer your question, it was always there. High school, I just discovered more because I was on platforms. I was in plays. I was able to create. I was able to be taught, about aesthetics on the stage. I was able to go to school and just better my craft, but it was always there. It was always there.
The thing I find interesting about it is that, we're talking about destiny, and we're talking about the ability to reach out to other people through either evangelism or entertainment as you're doing. But the key is we're trying to tell stories. So, and that's what we do on the Book of Dad radio show. We tell stories. We make sure people understand how it all happened. So I want to ask you before we take a quick break here, I want to know what the defining moment is that got you started and knew this is what you were supposed to do. You said it was destiny, but what happened, and we'll talk about it on the other side. Tell us what it is that happened. This is what you're going to do with your life.
My love for storytelling, my love for people's narrative, my love for bringing their life to the stage. That's what it was. It's my love for it. I got to bring your life to the stage so I can help other people win.
Outstanding. Okay, so when we come right back, she's not off the hook. She's going to have to explain that a little bit more. It's Dr. Robert Benson, the Book of Dad Radio Show. And I'm hanging out with my main man, Iceberg Slimmer. No, I mean Eddie G, engineer extraordinaire. And we'll be right back.
See why listeners from over 150 countries around the world follow the Book of Dad Radio Show. Join Dr. Robert Benson and Eddie G as they chat with special guests who share their stories and information that will change your life. Watch and listen on lifeandspiritonline.com or subscribe to the Book of Dad Radio Show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the NASCA Network.
Hey, welcome back to the Book of Dad Radio Show with Dr. Robert Benson and me, Eddie G. Today we have a fantabulous guest, Cynthia McKnight, who is well versed in many things. She is a Renaissance woman, as they say. And
Yep.
You were speaking a little bit about how you got involved with the film and the acting, how it was your vision. And I think that what's happening now with younger people is they don't have the opportunities kind of that we had. When we were in school, we had theater, we had band, we had all those things that have been taken away. So what do you feel is a part of your duty to pass it on to those young individuals who don't get that opportunity to be exposed? Because you were exposed and that gave you that bug. And look how you turned out. So how would you do that to spread the word to young people?
I think I want to thank you for asking that question, because that has always been my heart's desire. I work in a school district. I'm a consultant for a lot of different schools in the state of Delaware, and I've done that for almost 20 years. And one of the things that I try to do is still impact the kids that are around me. I created a program called Taking Your Life to the Stage. And what I did with that program is I'm using that program to really help kids that want to be in the arts and want to be in that field, to teach them English while getting them to a place to tell their narrative. And so I think even though the schools are not offering it, consultants, and we can go into these schools and still make a great impact. And I think more of that, funding needs to be available to us to do that. I believe the communities would be better if we would give them an opportunity to come in. You have to have a certain grade average to be a part of the program. You have to maintain, that you're not getting suspended. So there are guidelines for this program that I created. So because of the pandemic, I have not been in the school system like I've used to be. But that is something that I did start. So yes, we do need to continue to bring that, even though they're not allowing it in most schools, we need to still bring it there. And I bring it to the kids as much as I can. I'll let them come and be a part of some of the things I'm working on. Let them come on a set so they can see, how important it is to do things on the set, off the set, your integrity. Why your integrity is important. What do? Everybody want to make it big, but they don't understand the work. They don't understand the process. They don't understand excellence. And so those are the types of tools that I enjoy giving and sharing with people. So just to answer your question, we got to go and do what we need to do. So I love going into school and utilizing my programs to make a difference in the school district.
That's a very interesting point. The one thing I want to circle back on your statement about is you mentioned there were some criteria, if you will, for state to participate. You talked about grade point average, attendance, and those types of things. I personally see this as somewhat counterintuitive, because when you're trying to reach a population of kids and you're trying to save, if you're trying to provide that safe haven, and this is just an opinionated question, do you think that maybe you should relax, or there should be a relaxing of some of those requirements so that you can extend your outreach to some of those students that really need help?
If you would have asked me that a while ago, I probably would have said maybe. But now, because I've been in that environment, it actually motivates the kids. Because once they see what you're doing, I still let them come into the environment, even though they can't be a part of the environment. So it's a motivation to them. See, motivation is vital in the lives of kids, because if you don't give them a standard, they won't come up at all. They'll just participate because you let them in. But when you put them in the environment, that's the important part. Let them come into the environment. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to let you come in. just for a week, just watch the environment. Watch the environment, watch what we do. Now, here's the requirement for you to be a part of the environment. See the difference? Instead of saying, we're going to relax everything and everybody can come. Because they have to maintain a certain level so that we can get out of them the best that we can get out of them. So that's how I approach that.
All I can say to that is wow.
We had a
Wow.
similar program where we taught young people in high school about production, about music, and I agree with you wholeheartedly because you have a couple situations. You have some situations where you have young people that just want to get in to disrupt what's going on, right? But sometimes those are the kids that end up being the best student. But by letting them see what they can participate in, that was the best formula. Because, like you said, you set standards and everything works together. So I agree with that.
Oh, I understand and I agree wholeheartedly because, I mean, and when I was at school, I was an athlete. Or I thought I was anyway. That's debatable. But if you didn't maintain the standard, grade point average, attendance, etc., you couldn't participate, and it's the same thing. So I get
Same
that,
principle.
and I understand exactly what you're saying. So, but let's shift gears a little bit. You have, in addition to what you're doing with your mentoring, with your teaching, with your galvanizing, you're an author. Talk to us about some of the work that you've done and things that you've penned, and how you've been motivated to get that stuff published and on paper so that people can refer to it, not just what you're saying, but they can pick up something and read where you're coming from.
Absolutely. So I released 2 books. My first book is titled How to Get Your Freak Back. It's for married couples only. And I have counseled hundreds of couples, probably thousands of couples, to be honest with you, over the last 20 plus years. And in my counseling, I said, you know what? I decided to do a book. And I wrote the book, How to Get Your Freak Back, which means just being fulfilled, recharged, empowered, appreciated, and kind in your relationship and what it takes. One of the chapters, the first chapter is, why did you say I do? I ask very pointed questions. Don't go in the archives. Those are chapters that's in this book. And at the end of it, I give you an activity. Whether the activity is you asking your spouse a question or is you doing something that's really nice for your spouse. But whatever it is, it's about building your marriage and making it healthy. And then my second book I just released, and this is my baby right here because there's so many people who are not really hearing God's voice the way that they should. So I decided to write the book, The Second Voice, how to turn down the voice of the enemy so that you can hear the voice of God clearly. And so both of my books are on Amazon, so you can get them there. A lot of them are in Barnes & Noble, Walmart. My books are everywhere, to be honest, that you can purchase. If you look them up, you'll be able to get the books. But I just have a love for leaving a legacy. One of the things I tell people, the books will outlive you and your films will outlive you. Those are the things that matter to me, that will outlive me. When I'm no longer here, people will still be reading my books and watching my films. So it matters to me to keep that going.
That's a great point because, I always say that when you're gone, will people talk about you or will they write about you? And about you if you've written something yourself. And I firmly believe that. But taking it to the stage, I think teaches lessons learned more than people being able to see a scenario and from viewing it, they can practice it. Is that what your angle is when you say take life to the stage, or you're giving them an opportunity to present scenarios that they've been through before and then
Right.
so everyone else can learn from them, or is there something different to that?
All right, so taking your life to the stage is that when I bring everybody into a group and I say, hey, you have a story that you want to share, you want to tell, you want the world to see. All right, so let's go to what that story is. All right, so we're going to develop this story, but in developing it, I'm going to teach you how to write. I'm bringing some English majors in here because I want you to understand reading is power. So I also, not only am I teaching them getting their narrative, but I'm also educating them. And so what we do is we go around and we pick the best story to actually produce, because we go around, but they're still learning while we're doing that. And everybody gets an opportunity to produce, whether it's a little skit, whether it's a monologue, whether it's a stage play, whether we do a short film, they will get an opportunity, but they will get developed during their process. So that's what's taking your life to the stage. And that's a program that is really dear to my heart. I would love to be able to get the funding that is necessary for me to do that so that I can come around and do it again. So.
That's amazing. Here's another thing what I think is very important is that in addition to the concept of bringing your life to the stage, let them be themselves, because let's face it, there's two different languages that everybody speaks. There's a language that they interact with their peers. It may be 4 or 5 different languages that they use. One that they have to know how to interact on a professional level, et cetera. But the thing I think is important is that when you're teaching them these things and giving them these opportunities, is making sure that when you set that down to interact with different people in a different way, and that was successful. But we can touch more on this when we come back. This is Dr. Robert Benson, Book of Dad Radio Show with my main man, Eddie G. And we're talking to Cynthia McKnight. But be sure to check us out everywhere you get your podcast, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But we'll be right back.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. Hello, I'm Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. I want you to spread the word to your family members and friends to listen to LesBrownGreatnessRadio.com. Absolutely. And let me share with you why we're going to be focusing on positive things, because whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. And now more than ever, when the suicide rate has increased over 33%, when the suicide rate of young children between 5 and 11 has doubled, people feeling hopeless and stressed out and powerless, we need programming that can bring out the greatness in them. And that's what we will be focused on. When you listen, it will be an experience that will transform your life. LesBrownGreatnessRadio.com. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, and right back, Book of Dad Show. I'm Dr. Robert Benson. One more again with Iceberg Slim. Be sure that you check us out everywhere you can get your podcast. And we're on YouTube. And I don't want to be too repetitious, but I got to say, it's because we have great guests with great topics. And today is no exception. We were talking to Miss Cynthia McKnight, and she's just been giving us a kind of a if you will, on what it takes to help people sure that we're reaching people in the right way, particularly our youth. But the thing I wanted to ask her about and talk to her about is I've noticed from her website and Eyes on You production that she has a lot of people who are her family working with her. So how is it working the family business there, Cynthia? Is that good or bad? Talk to us.
It is absolutely good if you make sure that you are connected to the ones that can offer you the things you need to succeed. I tell people It is good to have family around you that can actually build you and empower you. So my children that are in the arts and that are very creative, a lot of them, they decided to want to be a part of what I'm doing, and they're very good. My daughter that does my administration, my graphic designer that handles some of my websites, and I consult everything else out, all of my videographers and all of the other people that I work with. So yes, it's good to bring your family in if they're gifted and grace to do what's necessary to make your company win.
That's it.
Yeah. I have to agree 100% with that. And a lot of times people bring in friends and family just to bring them in. And it ends up slowing them down, right? So, and sometimes you learn the hard way, but other times you find the talent that was hidden in your family that you didn't know was there. So that's a good thing to find out now. The other thing I noticed is I've seen the progression from Cynthia since high school to now. And sometimes you're not surprised by where people end up. And other times, like when you think about Eddie Murphy, and they talked about when he was a kid, he used to do stand up in front of the family, and Cynthia was doing theater, and all the way through all the things that have happened in her life led her to this point, which is great to see. and another person from Chester who has shown that great things come from that town. A lot of positive things, and we just want to make sure that we promote her in every way that we can. Tell us about your film. When can people see that film? When is it going to be released? Because we're excited about it.
All right, so here's the great news. The trailer is being released on tomorrow. So the trailer is coming out on tomorrow for You Hurt Me, But I Am Healed. It will be featured on Amazon Prime Video. It will go up live on July the 4th. They can go to, we have two websites. You can go to eoyproductions.com, or you can go to You Hurt Me, But I Am Healed movie.com to see behind the scenes, some content. The trailer will be uploaded onto that website as well. And some great information is on there. So you can go to each platform and you will get the information that's necessary for you.
Okay.
Hey, you're breaking up over there, fella.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me? Can we talk offline?
Yeah.
You got a real echo going on right now, Ed.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
Pause the clock.
Mm.
Do you hear echo, Cynthia?
I don't hear it.
Yeah, I don't.
It sounds good on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, so it must be just my end then, because there's a serious echo. I sent you a text telling you that, so okay.
Okay. Hold on. Tell me if it goes away when I do something. Hold on.
Okay.
You still hear it?
Not now.
Okay.
All right, so we can close it out from where we were. Where did we leave off at?
With the release of the film, and then you came in, so we can start from there.
Yeah, so that echo was still there, man. But I can get through it in 6 minutes, so we should be fine. If you don't hear it and she don't hear it, it should be okay. You don't hear echo from me, do you?
Nope.
All right, cool. Okay.
I'm double checking. I don't want to hear it. Okay. So, matter of fact, when you see something, I'm looking at your input. Nope. I'm not getting anything back from you. So we're good. So we're going to pick up from you. Okay.
All right, I'll just say because she just told us about the film and when it was coming out.
Yep.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll talk about, I'll try to zero back in and say something about COVID and people going to the movies and stuff, et cetera, and just go from there.
Okay.
We'll ad-lib it and get it back in.
All right. Here we go.
Okay. All right. Hey, Carol, that was Cynthia. That was some great stuff. I mean, I'm very excited about the movie coming out. But I do have a question for you surrounding that, though, with COVID. Okay. All right.
I heard you call her Carol.
Yeah, that was messed up. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
He's thinking about old shows. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Cynthia knows about this. Take 10.
I'm used to it. You know I'm used to this. So let's go.
Yeah. Hey, this is Norm. It's only been 3 of them, so.
Yeah, you're doing good. All right, go.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Wow, Cynthia, that's some great stuff. We're so excited about the project, as you are, and rightfully so. Seeing some of the other work that's going on, but let me ask you about with the normalizing or trying to get back to new normal, as people have, with the COVID and stuff coming to a halt or being lifted at some point. Do you see any impact that's going to have on turnout? People being responsive to the work, and what do you anticipate along those levels?
The beautiful thing is technology has evolved, and streaming is just probably the number one go-to. That's why you have major Netflix and Amazon. All of them are doing very well because you don't really have to sit in the theater to get a quality film in your home. So it's not going to, you just have to be creative. One of the things that my desire is to have my own network that I can put all of my content and actually start to really build, because I have so much content. And so Amazon is just my entrance. That's just something that I'm using now to get into families. My first film hit 14,000 plus families. That's a good thing for me, this to be my first film out of the gate. And so I'm looking for that to double with this film. But yeah, I just believe that, yeah, people are slowly but surely going back to the theaters. But even if they're not, they're still doing very well with the streaming online.
I do have another question. This is kind of off for what we're talking about right now. How was the last time both of you have had a really good cheesesteak from Chester? Because it's been a while since that happened to me.
No, my husband is from Philadelphia. So Philadelphia and Chester, we're very close to each other. So we get cheesesteaks very, very often. But there is this nice place. I can't even think of the name right now. It's in Brookhaven. Their cheesesteaks are still good. I can't think of their name right now. I don't want to mess it up. But we had one a couple of weeks. We had one a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we still getting those cheesesteaks. I mean, Philadelphia and Chester, we still on top when it comes to the cheesesteaks.
Yeah, I know the place you're talking about. I don't think that's Phil and Jim's. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yes, I think it is.
Phil and Jim's, yeah, they have some good cheesesteaks too. So shout out
Phil. That's exactly what it is. Yes, that's it.
I think I've been up there before too.
It was good.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and we really congratulate you on the release of your new film. We just want to say to you, congratulations. We're behind you. We're going to help promote this thing. And anything you want to say to everybody before you go?
I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the both of you for allowing me to come on your incredible show. I want everybody to always remember to share all of your content, and let's continue to grow together and do what we need to do, and just really share positive things to a positive community so that we can see the life and the spirit of the things we choose to do in life. And I'm grateful and I'm honored to be able to use my craft to make a difference in this world. And more important than anything else, I'm grateful that I can make God smile by the choices that I make in my life. I'm grateful for that.
That's amazing. Well, outside of all of that, talk to us about how we can get in touch with you and the venues through which you can be reached and people can actually view your stuff.
Absolutely. Always go to, I'm on Instagram, hit me up on Instagram, Cynthia.McKnight. I'm on Facebook, Becoming a Better You. You can also find me on Cynthia McKnight. I'm on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, if you're not on Clubhouse, you need to get on Clubhouse. Clubhouse got it going on. So I'm on Clubhouse as well. So you can see me on Clubhouse. Just put up my name, Cynthia McKnight. I have a Club for Eyes on You Productions. I do a lot of things on there, a lot of moderators that come on for there. And I'm also connected to a lot of other platforms on Clubhouse. So just all the platforms, I'm on it. And I just believe it's important for us to stay connected and increase our community. And as always, you can go to my website, eoyproductions.com, or go to the upcoming film, You Hurt Me But I'm Healed, movie.com, so you can get all the content to prepare the way for this film. Save the date. Don't forget it. July the 4th. You want to be there on Amazon Prime Video. It's going to be incredible. Life-changing. Better believe that.
Sell it.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, one more quickie, because I know that a person like yourself who is as creative as you are, what's brewing in the back of your mind right now? Now, this one project is done. What do you have coming forward that you're thinking about bringing out? Anything in particular?
It's the Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel. The story of Cain and Abel is what's after that. That's hopefully, if I can get these auditions done and get the characters in place, and get the permits I'm gonna need to shoot this in Philadelphia. I'm aiming for Christmas for Cain and Abel to come out. If not, it would be Christmas of next year. But that's going to be a powerful film. I'm going to be dealing with the violence that we're seeing And I'm also going to deal with it from the gun's perspective. We never look at it from the gun's perspective. See, the gun can't do nothing without the trigger, your hand on the trigger.
True.
Gun doesn't
True.
have
Absolutely.
any use until you pull it. So let's talk about it from the gun's perspective, and let's try to build our communities and learn to love each other. So that's my aim. That's what's upcoming.
Wow. You know, it's very interesting you mentioned that, and it's a good point to close the show out on, because violence today is so much different than what it used to be in biblical times, and heck, 20 years ago was so much different than what it used to be then. So we all have to have our guards up and girded, as they say in the Bible. But this has been a great show. Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us. We're really, really very happy to have you on the show. Any from that great land that we come from, Chester. It's just an honor to know the fact that we still have people like ourselves thriving from that great. But this has been the Book of That Radio Show, and I'd like to close out this show with a quote, and it's simply this: the only person who can be you is you, and the only person who can be anyone else is them. And people like Cynthia make sure people understand how to be both of those things themselves, and let everybody else be who they are. Book of That Radio Show. It's Dr. Robert Benson, main man Eddie G. Good looking out, my man.